Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Coming to you with a weekly recap time. Hashtag weekly recap. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you don't know what weekly recap is, I would suggest going down, hitting that subscribe button, ringing the bell. You're going to see one of these every week for every time I run this truck. We're not hiding anything. We're putting it all out there. The only time I would skip one is when I go on vacation, if I take a whole week off. Which is coming up here soon, so there will be a week with no weekly recap coming soon. I don't know when it'll be, but it'll be. So here's the breakdown for weekly recap for the new people. I'm leased to an 80-20 split carrier. I don't talk about the carrier. I like the carrier. I've been here like 3 years now and doing well. I recommend you find yourself a small carrier if you want to be an owner-operator, lease on. And if you want to build a fleet, yeah, I recommend you get your own authority. Another thing by me, I'm run Minnesota out and back. I prefer these 1,000-mile runs out to 1,500 miles out and come straight back. Can't always do what you want to do, though, when the market goes sour on you, and that's what we're dealing with right now. I don't put these numbers out to brag. These are comparison numbers only. So, you know, compare, educational. That's why we do this. So let's get into it. Now, this is going to be a 3-load week. I did a triangle. You know, some people love them triangles. I don't know. I like to go out and back, but when the money ain't there to come back, you got to do what you got to do. So I went Minnesota down to Missouri. 650 miles all in on that load, $3,000. So that was a pretty good paying load. Negative 10 degrees, 42,000 pounds. And I didn't calculate it in, but I actually got $225 of detention pay added onto that load. But I'd kind of already started my numbers by the time they told me that had got approved, so that's not really in this. So that made that load pay even better. Missouri, it was a weekend, so I grabbed a longer load coming back to Minnesota for like literally $700-800. I mean, there was literally trying to move reefer freight for like $1.40 a mile out of Missouri. You can keep it. You can keep it. I don't need to get back to Minnesota that bad. And so I took a load over to North Carolina. Pretty long load. $11.79 all in on that one. I got $34.40 for that one. 0 degrees, 44,000 and some change. That was a heavy load. I was grossing out right at 79,000 on that one. So that was a heavy one. I really couldn't even put fuel in on that one. I basically had to run that whole load on one tank of fuel because I'd fueled before I went and picked it up, because they told me on the rate con, hey, that load's going to weigh 40,000 pounds, and I found fuel cheaper before the pickup than after the pickup, so I said, let's get that fuel before the pickup, and it about bit me in the butt, because I literally, like, I was over on the drives for probably the first couple hundred miles on that until I burnt some of that fuel off, but yeah, it all works out, so no one got hurt in the making of that load, so we'll take it. And then out of North Carolina, boy, North Carolina was rough. Boy, was that rough over there. We got some connections over there. I ended up getting a load out of there straight back to Minnesota. And that load was 1,298 all-in miles. $3,000 on that. So, yeah. 30 degrees and 40,000 pounds. I mean, say what you want, you know, oh, I wouldn't haul that, I wouldn't do that, I'd blah, blah, set on the dock. I don't care. You can leave those comments if you want. It helps my algorithm. By all means, leave as many comments as you would like. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to sit in North Carolina waiting on something, you know, better, you know, sitting here, you know, I mean, you know, you can pray about it, but that don't mean it's going to happen, you know, I mean, just saying. So I ran that one back because that was the best option I had, and that load paid $3,000. And honestly, loadboard loads coming back to Minnesota were paying like $2,200. Yes, $2,200 for reefer freight back to Minnesota. I was just glad I was getting the $3,000 out of it. Honestly, you know, not where I want to be in life, but it's where I'm at. So that's what we did. $3,000 on that one. Boy, that was a rough load. It was heavy. It was through the mountains. And oh, get this. They said, hey, you need to hurry up and get that done. They gave me like 44 hours to do that entire load. 1,298 miles worth of trucking. It wouldn't be that bad, but You know, you got to come out of North Carolina up to Virginia, none but mountains. Virginia up 81, 77, mountains. Get to West Virginia, 64, mountains. West Virginia Turnpike, Ohio. Hey, they got US 35 done through Ohio. Anybody been through there lately? You know, when you run from Dayton down to Charleston, you used to have to get on that little 2-lane part of 35 down by the river, you know, by the river. You know, really dangerous because everybody's on their phone these days, swerving over the yellow line. Man, I had a guy almost hit me head on in an SUV there one time. And then the cars get anxious and they try to pass you down through there. Dangerous. They got it open now. They got that bypass open on that. I'm not going to brag on it a whole lot. It's not very good. It's lumpy. I don't know why they can't figure out US 35. It's got the worst dips and bumps and bridge connections of almost any road I can think of. And the bypass fits right in with it. Whoever's building roads out there, call me. We need to talk about some stuff. Just saying. So they got that open. But that's a rough ride up through there. You know what I'm saying? Like, heavy load through there. Fuel economy is not great. The first 600 miles of this load, I averaged 6.6 miles per gallon because I had to mash on this thing. I hate it when it's like that. You know, I do not want to try to, you know, go fast through the mountains with the hills and the curves because you're braking, you're accelerating, you're braking, you're accelerating constantly. It's pretty annoying. It's pretty annoying. So, I actually got it up about 7.5 by the time I made it to Minnesota on that for the entire trip. So I recovered quite well once I got to like Indiana. I came up through Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota. It delivered into the southern part of Minnesota. So, yeah, it recovered nicely once I got on some flat ground. But it never really, like, the average for the whole trip was about 7.5. Not great for me, but I'll take it considering, you know, I was running like 70 the whole way when I could, and having to mash on it in the mountains makes it a little rough. I'm not happy about it, but we do what we got to do out here to get the job done. I was kind of angry that they set it for 2 days, but then I wasn't, because honestly I wouldn't have been able to put this trip on this week if it hadn't have been for the 2-day delivery. Because if it would have went another day, this would have been an 8-day week, and where I went to school, there's no such thing as 8-day week, you know, just to make your numbers look good on paper and try to impress the YouTube community. It ain't for me. I got an old saying, you can put this in a quote book if you want, but it's a little saying I thought of a long time ago. It says, I'd rather you hate me for the truth than to love me for a lie. So, you know, you can hate me, I'm fine with it, because at the end of the day, I got to answer for my decisions, and lying to you wouldn't be a good decision for me. So if you hate me, that's your decision, you know, because of the truth. I never get mad at people for the truth. You know, I had a lot of people, you know, they say, oh, you look like this guy, or you're bald, or you're overweight, or what. I don't care. I don't care. That's the damn truth. You can't hurt my feelings with the truth, because the truth is the truth. If I don't like it, I should change it, right? My truth, you know what I mean? I'm overweight. Yeah, you can say it. I don't care, because I am overweight. Now, if, you know, you say something that's untrue, that's when I get mad at it. It was the week, guys. Big old triangle from Minnesota to Missouri, all the way out to North Carolina. And I'm talking like out there, North Carolina, way on out there. And then, you know, back up from the coast up to Minnesota. It was funny because the night before I delivered that Minnesota load, I was sitting there thinking, like, I was on the freaking East Coast like yesterday morning. You know what I mean? I had been trucking for 2 days. Hardcore burning hours like you wouldn't imagine. So let's go over these numbers. Let's break them down a little bit. 9440 was the total. I'm not sure if I said it. That load from Missouri to North Carolina was $3,440, by the way. I don't think I threw that out there. 9440 total. Said I forgot to put that detention pay on there, but I've really been a stickler about detention pay, especially with fuel being like it is. You know, anytime I can pad some numbers, I try to pad them, but I ain't trying to pay detention here anymore. You know, I really got screwed over at that Missouri delivery. And I mean, I sat there from like 6 in the morning till noon. And luckily, the next place I was picking up, they were okay with it. They were okay with me showing up in the afternoon because it was a weekend run, you know. So it was like I had a little time on it, you know, to get it there. But anyway, try to throw some padding in there. But 9440, my 80% of the 9440 is 7,552, 7552. We did 3, and when I say we, I mean me and my 5 other personalities in my brain. We did 3,126 all miles for the week. Woo, that's way more than I like to do. Let me tell you, I'm not a big fan of running 3,000 mile weeks. But you know, in this market, it does help with the overhead if you can get paid for them. So 125 empty miles, that was great, man. These guys getting these loads for me are doing an excellent job. It's 4% deadhead, lining them up, getting them ready. You know, by the time I got the first load picked up, I already had this whole thing scheduled out for me. Because, you know, we were looking at some loads out of North Carolina coming back to Minnesota for the weekend, and it was not looking good. So they called me with this and like, hey, we got some chicken. You want to go get that? I vowed I ain't going to do no fresh chicken anymore, I know. But I got to be honest with you, the place where I picked up this chicken is probably the best chicken place I've ever been to. Typically, it's more of a warehouse than a facility, you know, where they you know, slaughter the chicken. So I got there, I had a 10 o'clock appointment. I showed up right at 10 o'clock, put me straight in the door. By noon I was out with paperwork. Like, you can't beat it for live chicken to be you know, to be pulling numbers like that in and out in 2 hours on a fresh chicken load. So really not bad. I vowed I wasn't gonna do it, but I did it anyway. That's 3,001 loaded miles. And that breaks down to $3.02 for every mile this truck turned was 302. My 80% on 302 is $242 a mile to me, and that is $315 a loaded mile. So $315 a loaded mile, not bad at all. I will take it in this market. Now let's go over some variable expenses. Here's where the money goes. Made some good money. Now watch it. I'll just like at the strip club over here, just fanning it like that. You know what I'm saying? 1983 on diesel. Whew, I had my first $1,000 on the pump fill up the other day. I can say that. I broke my cherry on that one. With after discount though, it came in at $992. So I was like, all right, I'm still under 1,000 on after discount. 1883 on diesel. I'm still under $2,000 for the week. You know, it's kind of one of my goals here lately. I have been super monitoring my fuel efficiency. No more idling this truck. When I stop at the end of the day, I give her a 2-minute cool down process. That's what Detroit recommends. Especially if I've been pulling hard, I might let it run for like 3 minutes, you know, to get some fresh oil through the turbo. Y'all know you don't want to cake your turbo with hot oil. So let it run for a couple minutes before you shut her down. And with warm days, the warm-up process is really quick on this truck. Usually I crank it up if I've lost air pressure overnight. By the time I get my air pressure built, I do my walk around, my pre-tripping. Usually by that point, the engine is starting to warm up. So maybe like a 5-minute warm-up these days. Really trying to keep that idle time down. About the AC unit, if you don't know, check out my playlist called Homemade APU. I didn't think of it, but I'm implementing it and trying to show everybody strategies on it. Let me know what you think. And what else? So check out that Mudflap link down below. Save on fuel. I bought quite a bit of fuel through Mudflap this week. I filled up in Missouri at the Hood truck stop. That's a nice place. If you don't know about that one, check out my short video about that. Reefer fuel. Holy moly. $399 in reefer fuel this week. Whoo, that reefer fuel is starting to get ridiculous. I got a very fuel efficient trailer. She holds temperature very good. I got the big thermoking S700 on there. She runs like a top, but still spent $3.99 on reefer fuel this week. -10 degrees, 0 degrees over the weekend was a really rough one because I actually got that load delivered early. So that's why I was thinking this was a 6-day week. I set for an entire day in this week. So these 3126 miles I ran was in 6 days. I delivered that load from Missouri to North Carolina. That was supposed to have been delivered Tuesday. I actually delivered it on a Monday. So got to get that off. That helped with the reefer fuel. I mean, hell, you had another $70, $80 to run this reefer for another day on 0-degree load. Man, it was hot out there that week. It was like 95 degrees, 95% humidity. Brutal out there. Brutal. And still spent $3.99 on reefer after a day of not running it. Crazy. $31 on DEF fluid. $42 on scales. Scales went up. Now they're $13 a piece. I had to reweigh that Missouri load because, you know, they tell you on the paperwork it says 40,000 pounds. And then, you know, I set my truck. My truck's got the scale on it. And I wish I had one on the trailer too. I used to pull a trailer that had a scale on the trailer. Oh, that was nice having it on truck and trailer. Basically, never need a cat scale, honestly. But so I can get it really close. And somebody said something to me one day in a comment about, you never have to reweigh. And I'm like, no, most of the time I don't have to reweigh because my truck is pretty accurate on the scale. You know, I know, you know, if it's a 44,000 pound load, I need to see like 62 PSI down here. And for every 2,000 pounds the load goes down, I can drop that PSI by about 2 as well. So I lined it up for a 40,000 pound load, scaled it, was way over. I'm talking this load probably closer to 45,000 pounds. So I had to reweigh it, and the cat scales have went up. I pulled onto a TA scale. I never seen TA have their own scale. Somewhere in Missouri, I can't remember what exit or where I was at. A very janky TA there, jank. I got out. I pulled up to the fuel pump to go in and get my ticket for my scale because, you know, it's not CAT. I can't use the app. And I couldn't even get the door open all the way because the pump was like right there. And you couldn't pull ahead. You know, it was weird. It was a weird setup. If you guys know where that's at, let me know where that TA is in the comments. I can't remember. $36 on tolls. Thank you, West Virginia Turnpike. And $18 on parking. I did pay for 1 day of parking in Missouri because I wanted to stay right next to the receiver for that Missouri delivery. I wanted to stay right there, and there's a spot right there, but I wasn't going to be getting there until about 10 at night, so I secured that parking spot. Let's see, going back to the diesel real quick, 64 cents a mile fuel cost this week. 64 cents a mile. Trying to keep that down. That's about what my April was. And so 64. If I can keep it under 70 is kind of my goal right now. If I can keep it under 70 cents a mile, that allows me quite a bit of money to make some profit. So bring over the $7,552, my 80%. We subtract out $2,509. That's the total of the variable expenses, $2,509. That leaves me $5,043. And then we come down, I subtract another $650 for the maintenance cost for the week. If you guys don't know, I figure in 20 cents a mile, then I round it up to the closest 50. I think it was like $620 something, so I rounded it up to $650. And that leaves me $4,393 left to do what I have to do with. So, pretty good week, staying after it, just working hard, and doing more work than I wanted to, honestly, and you know, trying to survive the heat of this week. Boy, that was a rough week. And as a little reference here, I'm going to start putting this at the beginning of the videos, but I forgot. This week is a June week, mid-June 2022. I get a lot of people. Weekly recaps are getting more popular now. Thank you, everyone, for watching and subscribing and watching the weekly recaps. I really appreciate you guys supporting the channel. But they're getting more popular, so a lot of people that don't know the channel, or, you know, it just gets recommended to them, and they click on it because they see, like, videos from a year ago where, you know, it was like, you know, $12,000 gross, you know, $475 a mile, you know, and they see that thumbnail and they're like, huh, That's pretty good. Let me see what that guy's got going on. And they click on it and they're like, how are you getting fuel for $2.50 a gallon? And I'm like, bro, you're commenting on a video that's like 15 months old, you know. Sorry. You know, they're pretty relevant. You know, after a week or two goes by, weekly recap's kind of like, yeah, you know. So you kind of got to watch them when they come out to be relevant. But I need to start putting that in at the beginning to help people to realize, you know, what time frame we're talking about here. But that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate everybody. Come join me for a live show. Man, I enjoy hanging out with everybody during the lives. Ever smash that like button if you made it this far. And remember, people are more important than trucking. Take care of each other.